As the novel coronavirus cases explode globally, people are striving to protect themselves from the disease. The cloth face covering, popularly referred to as face mask, and the face shield, which one of these actually gives you full protection from the novel coronavirus? The scientific community is divided on this, but today I present you with findings and recommendations from authoritative sources and the pros and cons of both equipment, what we know so far, and exactly how we can protect ourselves from this rampaging pathogen. There is nothing like full protection when it comes to the use of a protective equipment, often referred to as personal protective equipment, PPE. There is what occupational safety and health practitioners call hierarchy of controls. This is basically a list of researched measures applied to control various forms of hazards. In this hierarchy of controls, PPE is the least effective and thus at the bottom of the control measures. This makes PPE the last resort in any hazard control effort. It stands to reason, therefore, that it is misleading and inappropriate to talk of full protection when it comes to the use of cloth face covering, surgical masks, N95 masks, or the face shield. That said, let's look at these findings. A 2014 cough simulation by the National Library of Medicine in the USA, also published in the Journal of American Medical Association, found the shield could reduce a user's exposure by 96% when worn within 18 inches of someone who is coughing. Face shields can substantially reduce short-term exposure to large infectious aerosol particles, but smaller particles can remain airborne longer and flow around the face shield more easily to be inhaled. In the period from 1 to 30 minutes after a cough, during which the aerosol had dispersed throughout the room and larger particles had settled, the face shield reduced aerosol inhalation by only 23%, as the research found out. Thus, face shields cannot be used as a substitute for respiratory protection when it is needed. According to the American CDC, that's the Center for Disease Control, it is not known if face shields provide any benefit as source control to protect others from the spray of respiratory particles. CDC does not recommend use of face shields for normal everyday activities or as a substitute for cloth face covering. The CDC, however, recommends face coverings as a simple barrier to help prevent respiratory droplets from traveling into the air and onto other people when the person wearing the cloth face covering coughs, sneezes, talks, or raises their voice. But how efficacious are the masks? Just how efficacious are these masks? A group of researchers in the Netherlands tested homemade masks made from dishcloth, called tea cloth in the UK, but in Ghana we call it napkins, or better still, kitchen napkins. They tested the napkins against surgical masks and N95 masks. The dishcloth, which is the napkin, captured 60% of the 0.02 to 1 micron particles. These are particles many times smaller than the coronavirus. The surgical mask captured 78.6% and the N95 mask captured 98.9% of the particles. There are other research pointing up to 80% capture of particles when the cloth masks are layered. The FDA recommends 3 layers, so there's not much to worry about if you use an FDA recommended cloth face mask. Now let's look at the pros and cons of cloth covering or face mask versus the face shield. The face shield covers your nose and mouth. It covers your eyes, yes, your eyes. A virologist in the USA named Dr. Joseph Fair, a man who has superior knowledge of how these viruses work, raised that concern when he became critically ill with COVID-19. He told the NBC network that he had flown on a crowded plane where flight attendants weren't wearing masks.
Droplets landing on your eyes are just as infectious. And of course, I wasn't wearing goggles on the flight.
When he was asked if people should start wearing eye protection, he said yes. The face shield prevents you from touching your face. It reduces the potential for auto-inoculation, i.e. the spread of infection from one part to other parts of the body. It is comfortable to wear. It is reusable and it cleans easily with water and soap or common household disinfectants. The face shield is not cheap to make. That is one downside of the face shield. Now let's look at the cloth mask or the face covering. It covers your mouth and nose. It does not cover your eyes. From time to time, people have to adjust it in their face. Hence, those who wear cloth masks are more exposed to the spread of the infection from one part of the body to the other. Also, most people do not feel comfortable wearing the cloth covering or the face mask. Its reusability is limited. You may have to discard completely disposable masks or replace cloth masks after several washes due to material wear. The cloth mask also does not clean easily. One plus for the cloth mask is that it is cheap to make. You can make it from home, you can make it from anywhere. You can improvise on material anytime, any day, and strap it across your face and you're gone. At the crux of any pandemic is the transmission of a pathogenic agent. COVID-19 is an emerging, rapidly evolving situation. Maintaining a physical distance of at least 1 meter and practicing good hand hygiene, washing of hands regularly and frequently sanitizing your hands does help to keep one safe. The experts may be divided on what equipment actually best protects you from this pathogen, but certainly they all agree that staying home is your best bet in keeping safe. My name is Nana Yao Akwada.